What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with another Destiny 2 Season of the Witch video, and in this one we're going to talk about the returning raid for this season, which of course is now confirmed to be Crota's End. And so in this video we're going to talk about some of the rewards from Crota's End. Yes, we can see all of the weapons, the weapon rolls, of course the updates to those weapons, some of them have been switched around a little bit and have new elements and things like that. So we'll cover all of that stuff, but also we'll talk about the raid exotic, the Necrochasm, the updated perks for that weapon, a new quest that'll be required in order to pick it up, but also we'll cover additional drops, new raid mods, origin traits and things like that in the video. Typically with a brand new raid, I'd kind of hold off talking about any of these items until a bit closer to the launch or indeed after it's come out, but with Crota's End being a returning raid and Bungie revealing a lot of the stuff inside of the trailer, I figured it wasn't too spoiler heavy to talk about perks, updates and things like that. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and of course the D1 footage of Crota's End in the background. I figured that would be more relevant than some random Destiny 2 gameplay, although it is 30 FPS of course. But we'll finally get to experience the updated Crota's End later on next week, with the launch on Friday the 1st of September. If you enjoyed the video though, be sure to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more Destiny content, and otherwise let's get into it. So firstly, let's talk about the returning exotic weapon, the Necrochasm. As we can see from the stats, there's no massive change from D1, it's pretty much going to be the same rapid firing auto rifle, but the intrinsic traits and perks have been updated a little bit. So it comes with Cursebringer, and precision final blows with the weapon trigger a cursed thrall explosion, and final blows with cursed thrall explosions will refill the magazine. And so it's now going to have that kind of automatic refill element. On top of that, it has arrowhead break and ricochet rounds, as well as hand-laid stock there, but also gets desperation, and reloading after a precision final blow, or a final blow with a cursed thrall explosion, increases the rate of fire and improves stability and aim assist. And so at least a couple of updates on the original weapon right there, but in terms of acquiring it, it doesn't look like it will simply be a drop from Crota himself. And somewhat similar to D1, there will be a quest element to this. So there's an exotic quest called Bottomless Pit, which is possibly something that will drop inside of the Crota raid. We can't say whether it'll be guaranteed or how much of an RNG element there will be to this, but the only step we can see is that we need to collect Essence of the Oversoul, which is the item you can see on screen right there. And collecting that presumably will require more completions or runs of Crota's End, and ultimately upon completing the quest we'll get access to the Necrochasm auto rifle. So that's what we know about the exotic weapon for now, and here let's talk about the returning legendary weapons. So of course in Destiny 2 we have origin traits, and all of the Crota's End weapons come with Cursed Thrall, and after defeating a target with a melee attack, final blows with the weapon cause targets to explode for a short duration. So they're throwing out the perk from Necrochasm onto other weapons from the raid, or at least that's what it looks like on paper. And there are 6 returning weapons, not all of the original Crota's End weapons come back, but we get the Fangavir Yurt, which is updated as a Strand Scout rifle, and it's a rapid fire frame. And focusing on the trait perks here, the first column gets Shoot to Loot, as well as Tunnel Vision, Killing Wind, Surplus, and then Rewind Rounds, Rapid Hit, and Keep Away. With the second trait slot able to roll High Ground, which is a new trait this season, and we gain bonus damage when attacking targets from higher ground. There's also Opening Shot and Precision Instrument, where dealing sustained damage increases precision damage. Then it can roll Golden Tricorn and Sword Logic, where final blows with the weapon grant bonus damage, and the strength and duration of the bonus increases when more powerful targets are defeated. So that's an interesting new damage perk there, but it can also roll Hatchling or Kill Clip. So there are definitely some pretty good rolls on that one, and of course we'll get to try out some of the new bonuses. We should mention that these are craftable weapons according to the database, and for the Master Raid there will be adept variants of them as well. But that takes us to the Swordbreaker shotgun, which has also been converted to a strand weapon, and this is a lightweight frame shotgun with traits in the first column consisting of Pugilist, Subsistence, Elemental Capacitor, Fragile Focus, Threat Detector, Slide Shot, or Demolitionist. Then in the second trait slot, it can roll Surrounded, Golden Tricorn, Sword Logic, 1-2 Punch, Opening Shot, and Hatchling, but we can see there is Barrel Constrictor there as well, and final blows with the weapon reduce the projectile spread of its next shot for a short duration. So that's an interesting new shotgun bonus as well. But the Word of Crota hand cannon is returning, still with void damage, and in a precision frame. So the first trait slot's able to get Subsistence, Rangefinder, Killing Wind, Dragonfly, Repulsor Brace, and then there is Enlightened Action, where dealing damage improves reload speed and handling, as well as Demolitionist. Then in the second trait slot we can roll Focused Fury, Precision Instrument, Frenzy, Sword Logic, Rampage, Destabilizing Rounds, and Adrenaline Junkie. So obviously there'll be some pretty juicy rolls of that. Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds will be nice. But also Dragonfly Destabilizing Rounds is interesting. And I think the new Enlightened Action trait, depending on how good it is, could be a pretty solid bonus paired with some of those second slot perks as well. On top of that, there is the Abyss Defiant Auto Rifle, and this is a high impact frame solar auto. And with the first trait slot, we can get Pugilist, Enlightened Action, and Heal Clip, where reloading shortly after dealing a final blow grants cure to you and nearby allies. That sounds pretty good. But it can get Zen Moment, Subsistence, Outlaw, and Reconstruction in the first trait slot. With the second trait slot able to roll Eye of the Storm, and Collective Action, where collecting elemental pickups or throwing a strand tangle grants a stacking period of increased damage. And then Swashbuckler, Incandescent, Kill Clip, Sword Logic, and Target Lock are able to roll on this as well. So I think that actually sounds like another pretty good weapon. But there is the Oversoul Edict, which is a rapid fire frame arc pulse rifle, and the first trait slot is able to get Enlightened Action, Eye of the Storm, Eddy Current, Perpetual Motion, Demolitionist, Encore, and Keep Away, with the second trait slot able to roll Moving Target, Swashbuckler, High Ground, Adrenaline Junkie, Sword Logic, Volt Shot, and Headseeker. And so yet another one of the weapons coming back right there with some pretty nice bonuses. But finally, we have the Song of Eyut, the Arc Machine Gun, which is adaptive frame, and the first trait slot can roll Unrelenting, Feeding Frenzy, Demolitionist, Zen Moment, Keep Away, Rewind Rounds, and Reconstruction. Then the second slot can get Elemental Capacitor, Volt Shot, High Ground, Cascade Point, Sword Logic, Bait and Switch, and Target Lock. So yet again, I think there are some really good bonuses there, some of the popular stuff, and some combinations that you can't necessarily find very easily elsewhere. So give us your thoughts on those Crota's End weapons, but of course, things like the Fusion Rifle and the original Sniper from Crota's End, the Black Hammer, are not in the listing. And we've seen that with previous reprised raids where there are a couple of weapons they skip. But otherwise, most of those rewards are looking pretty good. There are also new raid mods, so we have Stoic when panicked, and we gain damage resistance while you are standing on a plate, near a lantern or totem, or while you carry a relic sword. And for all of these mods, multiple copies do increase the benefit. There's Chomping at the Stem as well, and after you've been drained of light, we gain a bonus to mobility, weapon handling, and reload speed. And Violent Paw, where weapon final blows against a challenging combatant spawn an orb of power. Then there's Refreshing Thirst, and becoming drained of light grants you an armor charge. Brimming with Exhaustion, which will reduce the duration of the drained of light debuff by 2 seconds. And finally Benevolent Overflow, and while engulfed in light, dying, or having the Chalice of Light taken from you, it'll create a burst of healing around you. And obviously with the lack of health regen in some of the Crota's End encounters, which I presume will still be a thing, certainly some of these mods are going to be pretty good. And of course, we'll get the returning armor, and Bungie have shown us that we will get the armor from Year 3 version of Destiny 1's raid, with all of the glows. So there's the Willbreaker set for Titans, the Unyielding set for Hunters, and the Deathsinger style set for the Warlock. I'm really glad that we're getting the ornamented versions of those armor pieces back. And the final things to mention are some additional cosmetic drops. So we can see the 2 emblems on screen, Illuminated Peril being the standard Crota's End emblem, and the Broken Throne emblem being the contest mode version. Then there is the Warped Rakis shader, War's Lament exotic ship, which we can't get a better preview of just yet. And the new title for the raid will be Swordbearer. And so there we go, a loot preview for Crota's End. Let us know what you think down below. Certainly I think some of the weapons look pretty exciting, so share your thoughts in the comment section, and let us know if you'll be diving into the raid when it returns on the second week of the season. Otherwise though, I appreciate you tuning in as always, and I hope the video has been useful. Big shout out to Destiny Report who posted these roles. I'll link the Destiny Definitions archive page down below. Some pretty useful info in there, but I appreciate you all tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.